Carlos Alcaraz, the young Spanish star who continues to dazzle, shared a candid, humorous, and slightly tense reflection after advancing to the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. During the post-match press conference, he spoke about the challenge of potentially facing Serbian Novak Djokovic as his next opponent. "If I start thinking about everything this guy has won, I simply wouldn't even be able to play. The guy's got 24 Grand Slams and has been #1 longer than I've been on the circuit. But hey, I'm not going to let that get to me. I try not to think about the fact that I'd be up against a living legend of tennis. If I did, I probably wouldn't even be able to lift my racket," he admitted with nervous laughter. "I know I have the tools to compete. We'll hit the court, give it our all, and believe I can beat him. Otherwise, what the hell am I even doing here?" he added with a confident smile. The Mercian, who is arriving fresh after Jack Draper retired during their round of 16 match due to a hip injury, appeared calm and ready for what lies ahead. In the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam, you're up against the best players in the world. If it's not Djokovic, it'll be someone else from the top. Playing Novak won't change my plan. Well, maybe just a little if it were a final, because the weight of the match is different, but right now, I'm focused on preparing for the match as I always do, Alcaraz explained, emphasizing that his focus remains on the present. Lessons from other tournaments and the pride of being an older brother. Reflecting on what he's learned from his previous experiences in major tournaments, Alcaraz highlighted the importance of taking things day by day. "These tournaments are like a damn marathon. If you get too obsessed with the final or your potential opponents, you'll burn out before you even get there. You've got to respect every round, every player. That mindset has helped me reach my best level and enjoy each match more." The young player also showed his human side when talking about his younger brother, Jamie, who is competing in junior tournaments. "It's such a proud moment to see my brother playing in the same tournaments I've been in. I saw that he won his qualifying match, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet. I spoke to my mom, who's with him, and I try to take all the pressure off him. I know what it's like to be in that position, and I don't want him to feel overwhelmed," he said with a smile that reflected his brotherly love. A gesture that captivated the Australian Open. During his match against Draper, Alcaraz's dominance was evident, but the Brit, burdened by physical issues after 3 grueling 5-set matches, couldn't continue. In a display of sportsmanship that few will forget, Draper approached Alcaraz to announce his retirement, and the two shared a heartfelt embrace. "It's not the way I wanted to advance," Alcaraz said in the post-match interview. "I'm happy to be in the quarterfinals, but sad for Jack. He's a good guy and didn't deserve to end like this." Alcaraz's gesture didn't go unnoticed. After signing his name on the TV camera, he added a message for his opponent. "You'll be where you deserve to be. Get well soon, Jack." The Australian Open and the tennis world on social media were quick to praise this act of class and sportsmanship. At just 21 years old, Alcaraz continues to demonstrate not only his talent on the court but also his character off it. A warning to the rest of the circuit. As the tournament progresses, it's becoming clear that Alcaraz is in formidable form. His blend of freshness, aggression, and strong mentality makes him a fearsome opponent. "I'm here to give it my all. If anyone thinks I'm going to shit myself at the thought of facing Djokovic, they're dead wrong. I'm ready for whatever comes," he concluded with a mix of determination and cheekiness, making it clear that his goal is singular: to conquer the Australian Open. Carlos Alcaraz, the young Spanish tennis prodigy, has matched his best result at the Australian Open, the only Grand Slam missing from his collection of elite trophies. Now, the Mercian is gearing up for a high-voltage showdown this Tuesday, possibly against Novak Djokovic. Yes, that Djokovic, the guy who's won more Grand Slams than some people spend days in the gym. The mission won't be easy, but Alcaraz is ready to put up a fight. The round of 16 clash against Jack Draper was, honestly, a public torture session for the Brit. Draper entered the match carrying the scars of a brutal week, 12 hours of play and 15 sets in his legs. Basically, the guy was as worn out as a second-hand car with 300,000 miles on it. And when you've got an electric Alcaraz on the other side of the net, that's a lethal combo. Draper, whose body was practically screaming for help, held on as best he could. But after 2 sets, 7-6 and 6-1, he threw in the towel and decided, "That's it, I'm done." Facing Alcaraz, a challenge for the brave or the masochistic. Let's be clear, going up against Alcaraz at 100% is already like trying to climb Everest in flip-flops. But doing it with your gas tank on empty, like Draper, is pure athletic suicide. The Brit, while he had some fuel left, managed to compete and even made Alcaraz sweat a little in the first set. But by the second set, his body gave out. The Spaniard, showing no mercy, capitalized on every mistake until Draper couldn't take it anymore and headed straight to the locker room with a face that said, "Why didn't I pick a different career?" For Alcaraz, this match was more than just another step forward in the tournament. It was a crucial test to keep adapting to the changes he's made in his game. Because yes, the Mercian isn't the type to settle for good enough. He's been working on his serve, adding more power, and even increased the weight of his racket by 5 grams to make his shots pack an even bigger punch. 5 grams might not sound like much, but those little tweaks are making a huge difference. He even decided to start the match serving, which isn't his usual style. And guess what? It worked like a charm. An evolving Alcaraz hungry for more. What's fascinating about this tournament is seeing Alcaraz in action, even though he's not at his peak yet. He's experimenting, making adjustments, and still winning matches convincingly. It's not just raw talent. The guy has the discipline and hunger of a true champion. Sure, some critics might say he hasn't faced top-tier competition yet in this tournament. But hey, it's not his fault his opponents show up with their bodies in shambles, like Draper. The upcoming quarterfinals, whether it's against Djokovic or whoever else emerges from that side of the draw, will be the ultimate test to see where Alcaraz really stands. And if anyone can dethrone the Serbian legend, it's this kid. He's got the skill, the power, and, most importantly, that youthful audacity that makes him so unpredictable. Alcaraz isn't just looking to advance. He wants to show he's ready to conquer Melbourne. A lesson for everyone. Never underestimate Alcaraz. If this tournament has taught us anything so far, it's that Carlos Alcaraz is a nightmare opponent who won't give you a moment's peace. His game is constantly evolving, and his relentless drive to improve makes him even more dangerous. So, Novak or whoever else, better brace yourselves for a battle, because the Spaniard is coming in hot. As Alcaraz said after the match, "I'm here to give it my all, and if anyone thinks I'm going to get scared, they better think twice. Let's go all out." This Australian Open still has plenty of drama to unfold, but one thing is crystal clear. Carlos Alcaraz isn't just playing for a title. He's making it known that the future of tennis already has an owner. And that owner hails from Murcia, armed with a racket and a burning desire to shake up the competition. 2 big areas stood out for improvement in Carlos Alcaraz's game during his latest match. The first set served as a reality check, showing that while the young Spaniard is a prodigy, he's far from perfect. Let's not sugarcoat it, his forehand was a bit of a mess. Alcaraz seemed uneasy, almost like his racket had suddenly developed a mind of its own. The result? A whopping 21 unforced errors. Yeah, you heard that right. To make it worse, that number matched his total winners, which is like breaking even in a game where you're supposed to dominate. But hey, the real kicker? The damn double faults. 5 of them, and only 2 aces to balance things out. Yikes. Even with those hiccups, Alcaraz somehow managed to hold his serve and even pulled ahead 5-2. At that point, it looked like he was ready to wrap up the set with a neat little bow. But no, he flubbed it, letting Jack Draper break his serve and drag the set to 5-5. Talk about unnecessary drama. This forced Alcaraz to dig deeper, kick things up a notch, and grind his way to a 7-5 tie-break win. Let's be real, he made it harder than it needed to be, but at least he got the job done. Draper's body. The ultimate betrayal. On the other side of the net, Jack Draper was putting on a different kind of show, a tragic one. If Alcaraz's unforced errors were frustrating, Draper's physical condition was downright heartbreaking. After a grueling week of matches that had already pushed him to the limit, his body was staging a full-on rebellion. By the end of the first set, every movement seemed to take monumental effort, as if the court had turned into quicksand. Losing the set visibly crushed him, and the Brit immediately called for a medical timeout. He disappeared into the locker room, probably praying for a miracle, or at least a new set of legs. When Draper came back, it was clear that whatever had been patched up in the locker room wasn't enough. His mobility was shot to hell. The powerful, dynamic player from earlier rounds had been reduced to a shadow of himself. In the second set, he could only scrape together a single game. Watching him struggle was like watching someone try to climb a mountain with a backpack full of bricks. Eventually, common sense prevailed, or maybe it was sheer desperation, and Draper threw in the towel. You could see the pain and disappointment on his face as he retired from the match, knowing he'd given everything but had nothing left to give. Alcaraz marches on. The quarterfinals await. For Alcaraz, Draper's retirement meant a ticket to the quarterfinals, matching his best performance at the Australian Open. But let's not kid ourselves, the real test is still ahead. The Spaniard now waits to see who his next opponent will be. Novak Djokovic, the relentless tennis machine, or Jiri Lehecka, the underdog fresh off a confidence-boosting title in Brisbane. Either way, Alcaraz knows the road to the title won't get any easier. He's got his eyes on the prize, though, and if his ability to adjust and battle through rough patches is any indication, he's more than capable of going all the way. Join the Tennis Extra family. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that subscribe button and give us a like, because here at Tennis Extra, we don't just cover the matches. We bring you the stories, the drama, and the behind-the-scenes action that make tennis the most electrifying sport on the planet. From in-depth analysis to exclusive interviews and top-notch coverage of every major tournament, we've got everything you need to stay in the loop. Join our community of tennis lovers and be part of the journey as we follow Carlos Alcaraz and the rest of the tennis elite. Because at Tennis Extra, we don't just love tennis, we live it.